This is the briefing for Friday, March 21st. In the last couple of briefings during the week, I talked about the fact that just from my experience in the markets, that I really feel like this is a counter trend move to this move here. This is the spiders on a daily basis. Now, that's based on information that I've just been able to analyze and that I've discussed in the briefings during the week. But that can always change because the perception of value can change if there's a news event. And based on that, we could see that this is the low and we're going to be rotating all the way back up, potentially to test the all-time highs. But as of right now, the information coming from the market suggests to me that potentially this is a counter trend rotation, and that will potentially take out this low and test at a minimum 540 before we see some type of other rotation back to the upside. Now, in today's trading, it's important to note that we did see an increase in volume today. Now, the market opened lower and then started to trade higher. And I want to point out that look at this area of rotation here. This is a week's worth of trading. This rotation right around this 565 area, which is an important key reference area in terms of the spiders. Now, I'm going to go to an hourly chart. In last night's briefing, I talked about the low from Tuesday. This is the low from Tuesday. This is an hourly chart of the spiders, and this is an hourly chart of the Qs and the IWM. So I said if this low is broken, that's going to open up the higher probability that this low is going to get tested and potentially taken out. Same thing with the Qs. If this low is broken, I had these trend lines up just so everybody could see it. And the same thing with the IWM around the 202, 203 area. Now, in today's trading, we opened up in the spiders and opened up just below it, but buying came in immediately and drove the market back up again. And then, of course, we saw this rotation all the way back up. This is the rotation that we looked at on a daily basis on the daily chart. Same thing with the Qs. Qs came down right to the Tuesday low. And then, of course, we got this buying that came in and drove the market back up. Same thing with the IWM, traded slightly below, buying came in immediately, there was no follow through, and we got this rotation back to the upside. Now, what's going to be important is these same levels. This is the rotational area. This is about the 572 area to the upside, which is resistance. And in the Qs, it's going to be about the 486, 487 area. And in the IWM, it's 208. Now, you can see what's happening also in terms of the internals. You can see that breadth is declining, breadth declining, breadth declining. So we're not strengthening. We didn't strengthen much in today's trading in terms of the internals. And looking at what's occurring even with the 52-week highs minus 52-week lows, they turned down. You can see breadth declining on a daily basis. So this still suggests to me that there's not enough strength in the market that would suggest that we're going to trade above this high, which would be the 570 area in the spiders, and then a potential to test the 580 area. So for me, that is still a lower probability. Now, there is a probability assessment, and that can change, and especially if there's a news event that we don't know that's coming up, that would suggest then that the perception of value has changed, and we're going to see some type of rally that is greater in degree of time and price than this rally here. Now, looking at the Qs, we're the same thing. You can see this rotation right around the 480 area. That's an important area. Breaking the Tuesday low is going to suggest a test of this low, which would open up a potential test of the 450 area. A little increase in volume in the Qs, but you can see breadth really not strengthening at all. In terms of the Russell, the IWM rotation right around the 205 area, watch what happens if we break through Tuesday's low. That would open up a test of the 197 area, and if that's broken, then we're looking at somewhere around the 190 area for the next level of support. Volume ticked up slightly in the IWM, so it's going to be interesting. It really traded all the way back up to the 205 area before we saw some selling come in. So we're really kind of stuck in a rotational pattern right through here. Now, in terms of overbought and oversold, we're really not really oversold as of yet. The NASDAQ is getting slightly oversold. The NYSE is not really quite there yet. So This would give the market the opportunity, if it wants to, if traders decide that value is lower, that we could see additional downside in Monday's trading. But I would suggest that this is coming to an end fairly soon. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Now, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, you'll see a market that pauses at a significant key reference area, which 565 in the spiders is, and that if it can't break out, and you can see the attempts to break out when selling comes in and stops the breakout point, then traders give up trying to drive it higher and they start to sell those positions, and you see another rotation back to the downside. So it's yet to be seen as to what's happening there. In terms of other internals, the percentage of stocks above the 50 and 200-day moving averages, you can see it is not strengthening. In fact, it is declining, a little bit of a tick up today. Interestingly enough, the percentage of stocks above the 200-day moving average in the S&P 500 is only 40%. In the 50-day moving average is 33%. These are really pretty sad numbers for the internal strength in the markets. In terms of the NASDAQ, you can see 28% above the 50-day moving average, 37% above the 200-day moving average, and deteriorating, other than a little bit of a tick up in today's trading. And the Russell showing the worst performance, 21% above the 50-day moving average and 29% above the 200-day moving average. So basically, looking forward to Monday, I'm going to be watching what happens if we take out today's high to see if there's enough strength in the market from an internal perspective to test this 572 area. Same thing with the Qs. If we take out today's high, it'll be interesting to see if there's enough strength to test the 486 area. That's going to all depend on what happens with market breadth and volume. On the other hand, breaking today's low is going to suggest the potential to test this low. Same thing with the Qs. And then that would suggest then, once again, that potentially we're going to break this low from the 13th and test the 540 area and potentially even take that out. It's going to be a very interesting week next week. Have a great weekend, and I'll pick this back up for subscribers on Monday after the close.